In this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite exercises to help out people with inner elbow pain associated with throwing baseballs. Hey everyone, I'm Sebastian at Performance Play Sports Care, part of the locally world famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. Now, as we go through this exercise today, you should obviously know that you need to be fully assessed. The reason why this is important is because I think roughly about 20% of ball velocity comes from the upper extremity. The remainder comes from the rest of the body. And so you need to have an assessment to figure out if the rest of your body is actually part of this or it's actually just an elbow that's super weak. Most people start off with a perfectly healthy elbow. So the workload that's going to the elbow coming from a different place is the big factor, and it's the root cause. In this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite exercises to take workload away from the elbow while still keeping workload in the elbow, but sharing it more appropriately with the shoulder. Okay? This exercise is called a torsional buttress. Now, to set up for it, ideally use something like a mat. Okay? I have a pretty slippery floor here, so the floor really doesn't help me out in regards to generating tension. Okay, problems into the inner elbow here sometimes can be exacerbated by things like planks and push-ups, and so setting your hands first is super important before you actually go through the exercise itself. And so let me show you the hand tension first, and then we'll actually show you the exercise. Note to yourself is if you don't do this hand tension part, you're going to miss a huge benefit of the exercise just by skipping to the exercise. Okay, so we're going to spread our complete hand out as if you have gecko hands. Super, super wide, not together, super wide. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take note into this area right here. This is going to be like the inner knuckle of the thumb, of the index finger. We want to make sure it's actually buried into the mat at all times. That is probably one of the most important parts of this exercise, is keeping your fingers buried in, acting like there's a tack under this portion of both hands as you bury it into the ground. All right, the tack will come up if you let it. Don't let it come up. All right. So that's focus one. If you let the tack up, you lose everything in the game. The second thing is we want to see if we can move our elbow pits towards the camera, but not at the cost of losing the tack. Okay? Notice if I go too far, I lose the tack. All right? Pin the tack down, keep the tack down, and then try to rotate your elbow pits towards the camera. You may notice at this point, it's already pretty hard into the shoulder. So now, as we do our torsional buttress, we set our hands appropriately, don't rush. Show your elbow pits, and then walk your knees back until you're in a plank position-ish. From here, you're trying to push yourself away from the floor as far as you can while still keeping the tack. Breathe, and if you go far enough with your feet, you'll actually shake pretty well. Okay? I usually have people do this quite a few times. The rest period is rocking forward. Okay, and so we're going to find the starting position, tension, do the work, sit back, here's the break, and we rock back in. Keep the tack the entire time. I know this is the quote-unquote break, but you don't lose the tack. The tack needs to stay in at all times as you perform the exercise. Okay, usually doing this for about 5-10 times is usually pretty good, but at the same time it's dependent upon your actual physical abilities. If this is really hard for you and you start falling apart after 5 seconds, then obviously this is a different reps and sets for you. So a lot of times we use a perceived effort. So it's a lot of effort, mini break, a lot of effort, mini break, and so on. Now, this helps out to put workload into the shoulder. It helps the shoulder girdle do its job to spare the elbow. This does not a ton for the hip, the knee, the ankle, and so on, but it does help out a little bit with the core, as you can probably feel with the exercise. So if you guys want help with how to apply exercises like this, how to make sure that you don't need surgery for your elbow, and you want to continue throwing, reach out to us. We'd love to see you in person. We do see a lot of people for an assessment who come in to figure out what we should actually do with them. There's a lot of exercises and activities you shouldn't be doing. You want to make sure you pick the right ones, and the only way you can actually do that is to have a good assessment performed on you. So please come in. We see people all over the place that come in just for that assessment. The link in the description below is below, so you can contact us if you want to see if we can take your case. We can set up a consultation that way. We'll see you next time. Subscribe to the channel. Take care.